You are tuned in to What Up Baltimore online radio. Please note that the views and opinions expressed on this channel are of the host and not of Lady J Media. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, What Up Baltimore TV. And if you really don't want to miss any of the shows, hit that notification bell and you'll get a message every time we come on. Now, we got it from here, so sit back, relax, and stay tuned.
I know you do. I know you do, because that's what I do. I give you that kind of love that makes you come back. I'm your pusher, baby. I'm your pusher.
Hey, little black boy, let me holler at you for a minute. I was once in your place, you should respect what I say. Some of the things I'm about to tell you just may save your life in the world right now much is right. Little black boy, you're gonna see and experience all sorts of things, but don't let your mind be locked in the chain. Hello and welcome to Spitfire Poetry Shutdown. I am your host, John Hansboro. It is December 7th, 2022. I hope everybody is ready for this year to end and end it off with a bang so we can start fresh for January. I am very excited and elated tonight. I have two of my sisters on here this evening. I've been waiting for this. But I met these sisters when I did a play called I Am Woke. Shout out to Thomasina Redmond Aneski and her husband Victor CEO. And I loved it. It was a wonderful experience. I feel like I gained a new family from there. And I just love being around the creativity. There's so many of us. And being around creative people like that is just something, it's just amazing to me. It really is. All right. This show is being brought to you by Lady J Media. Go to ladyjmedia@gmail.com to find out all the ways to watch the show. All right. And I send out the link every now and then on my Facebook page. So make sure you stay up on me on Facebook and Instagram as well. Now, all right. We got my sisters in the house. First, let's introduce Lady Glori. We have Lady Glori and Mozart. Lady Glori, how are you this evening? How you doing?
Good.
Good. It's good to see you. And we also have Mozart. How are you, Mozart?
Hello. I'm doing well.
It is so good to see both of y'all. It really is. I'm telling you. As soon as the camera came on, I just was cheesing like Chester cat. So look, I'm gonna let y'all tell everybody a little bit about yourself really quick before we get into some poetry, because I want y'all to be able to do as much poetry as you want, and I'm sure I'm gonna have some questions. I want to ask some things about some of the things that you've written. But we're going to go with Mozart first. Why don't you introduce yourself to everybody? Tell us how we can follow you, who you are, things of that nature.
Okay, so as John stated, my name is Mozart. I just started writing poetry this year, but I've always been creative as far as writing and drawing and things of that nature. So I just found a new outlet to be creative in. And because I, just started writing poetry this year, I figured I'd put out a book just because I felt like I needed to share my accomplishments this year with me growing as a poet and as a writer. I felt like I've healed a lot through my book, just writing it. So that's why I was like, I needed to share this with other people so they can get healed too.
Mm.
I feel like that's a purpose of mine. This is a,
Oh, wonderful.
Daydreams and Nightmares.
Yes.
For
Yeah.
pre-order right now. It's releasing December 12th. You can find it on mozartcreations.com. That's MozartCreationz.com. If you forget for any reason, you can check out my Instagram, mozart.writing, MOZART.writing on Instagram. You can check out my portrait page as well, because I do draw portraits. MOZART.portraits. And yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Awesome, awesome. You said so many things just now that just did something to my spirit. Seriously, the fact that you said, like, I feel like you saying this is your purpose, and you know it is, and the healing part of it, because I get that same feeling. I get healing from myself when I write, and I feel like I'm helping to heal others. And this is, I love it. Poetry is everything to me, and it's made me bump into so many wonderful people like y'all. I mean, I'm telling you, I love it. I love it. Lady Glori, tell us a little bit about yourself, sis.
Hey everybody, my name is Lady Glori. I started writing when I was around 13. It was an outlet for me. Like you and like Mozart, I needed healing at a young age. And so I used to just take to sitting at my mother's computer, and I used to do these rants. I used to call them rants. And then I would memorize them, and I would stand in the living room and I would perform that. And my sister, I think maybe she caught me one time and she told me it was called spoken word, what I was doing. I didn't even know what I was doing. And that's how you know when you call to do something. You do it before you know it has a name, right? And so I called myself a poet ranter. And so I kept writing. I think when I turned about 22 or 23, I started going into the DC slam team, and I was losing weekly. It was I think every poet should have the slam experience. It was wonderful, but I started to recognize that mine is just for healing, not for competition. Soon after that, I just started looking for features in Baltimore, and nobody would have me. It was pretty amazing. I used to go to open mic after open mic. I would, I was doing all this stuff, and I wasn't getting the features. And a friend of mine, God bless him, his name is Ramel Thompson. He had a band. The name of it was Funk Out the Trunk, and on the band was his sound guy, and his name was Kyle Berkeley. He's now I think he's a councilman out here now. And he told me to move to York, Pennsylvania, and I ended up moving up there, and I just started buzzing. And as I buzzed, I had a rule. I would not say no. Anybody who called me and wanted me to come and perform, I would say yes. And I did that, and I just started. I started a little career for myself, and then I had developed a mission, and it was simple: it was maximize truth and minimize shame. Maximizing truth, minimizing shame is really an introspective movement for everybody to look deeply within themselves and freeze the shame in the world, to be able to evaluate things objectively, and to give ourselves grace, and to give ourselves the grace of knowing our own narratives in order for us to heal. And so um, and so then I started kind of tapping into my own activism through art. And I heard, I believe it was Kenneth something called it artivism. I went to it. It was dope. And so I started just kind of moving in that light. So I started pairing up with nonprofit organizations, co-writing plays, entering my work into all kinds of different venues and whatnot. And it's been really empowering. I've got to address my own traumas. I've gotten uh, to share a kinship with people who are healing, and it has saved my life. It has given me purpose, and it has made me. It has validated me in all kinds of ways. Just experiencing my art, other people's art, and everyone's truth, right? And so I just been really blessed in this field, because it is a field.
Right.
And I'm grateful, and I got to meet like dope people like y'all,
Yeah.
and to be able to share that sort of joy, and to be able to sit on these different platforms and talk about how we are healed as individuals, and talk about things that are very vulnerable. Poetry is a space where it is acceptable to be as vulnerable as you want to be without having a knife in your chest. You know what I'm saying? And I think that there's something special about it. It's introduced me to the world of acting. It's introduced me to the world of music. It's introduced me to the world of dance. It's introduced me to into spaces that I wouldn't otherwise be in. So yeah, so that's Lady Glori. That's Lady Glori. So
That's amazing. That's amazing, Lady Glory. I congratulate both of you ladies on what y'all do, because it's amazing. I've heard both of y'all do your poetry and I love it. Um, and you said a mouthful too, Lady Glory, about the healing part of it, because I feel like that too. I really do. I feel like it's this thing, poetry, can do so many different things. You know what I mean? And when you go to open mics, I feel like that's one of the places where there's no judgment. You just go in, you say what you feel, and whether you think it's good or not, people there are going to encourage you while you're doing it. They don't even have to know you. You know what I mean? That's one of the things that I absolutely love about this field as well. So
mhm.
look, I know the people don't want to hear me. They want to hear y'all spit some shit tonight. So on my show, it is no holds barred. Art is art. We're not worried about the language, none of that. The kids should be finishing their homework or doing it right now anyway, so they shouldn't be watching. And we're gonna get it in, all right? So we're gonna let Mozart go first.
Okay.
Whatever you want to spit, whatever you want to say, let's go right ahead with it.
Okay. Okay. There's so many. I forgot to like get my little list together.
You're
Of
fine. You can go with
poems.
whatever you want. You're fine.
Um, okay, I'm gonna do this poem I wrote, which is actually in my book. It's called "I Cannot, But I Can."
Mm, okay.
You cannot. Like a clot, those words are plastered across my heart as I stand before an obstacle that will not depart from in front of my dreams. I try pushing the obstacle out of the way, and I scream as it never once wavered. I tried walking around it, but it never enabled me as it matched my steps to prevent me from reaching my promise. After a few bruises from my battle and dirty clothes from my falls, my solace disappears as I realize I cannot. The obstacle smiles as it crosses its arms as a taunt, knowing that it has me beat. My body runs away as I feel the weight of defeat wash over me. The obstacle laughed behind me. Who am I to think I could fulfill such a dream? Seriously, I'm a nobody, nothing special to any degree. A voice behind me spoke, "You were a nobody, but not anymore." Turning around, I saw Jesus, my mentor, with a bright aura surrounding him. I told him, "I don't understand what you mean. I'm a wimp, a nobody. I can't even get around the obstacle in my way." He says, "My child, I love you so much that I suffered to pay my life so that I, being holy and clean, can come into your unclean and corruptible body to intervene against the wages of sin to save your soul. And when I saved you and entered your heart, you became whole. You became a somebody. You became special to me. You became special to have in me and my Father's company. You can do all things through me who can strengthen you." He steps forward, touches my shoulder, and on me he blew. Inhaling his breath, I receive the Holy Spirit. The surge of energy sprouts from where he touched without limit to the rest of my body, rejuvenating me. I feel power, I tell Jesus with glee. He smiles and tells me, "Because of the Holy Spirit." It's deliberate when it enables you to overcome your flesh, which is sinful and destructive, and will only cause you stress. When the Spirit says yes, your flesh says no. When the Spirit says you can, the flesh will say you can't, although the Holy Spirit empowers you to overcome the natural man and make it submit to it. With the Holy Spirit's assistance, I can work on you from the inside out to blot out areas of resistance. I just don't understand. I have trauma and I am dirty from the times I've fallen into sin. I give up too early. I'm so unworthy for you to work on. There's no way I am strong enough to go above and beyond to conquer this obstacle. It's possible you chose the wrong person. Jesus says, I make no mistakes. I know who you are for certain. I know who you are going to be. I need you to understand that, yes, you can overcome any obstacle because I said you can. You are blessed. You will triumph over the flesh. You can make it obey. I just don't know how to make confidence stay. He commands, repeat after me. I can. God told me I can. And keep saying it until you believe. I did as told and immediately started to receive. Each new utterance of those words caused the same power surge to return. Stronger and stronger. My skin started to tingle and slightly burn. My flesh fighting for power brought me to my knees. Something wanted to burst out, so on my blouse I squeezed. Grabbing at the buttons, it opened with one thrust. The struggle was over. My body took a second to adjust to the power coursing through my bloodstreams. I looked down and my clothes changed. In the seams was a blue supersuit with a red and gold cross emblem. Looking up at Jesus, I asked, where did this suit stem from? He answers, you needed to change in order to fully embrace the power. You needed to enter a secret place away from the enemy, a strong tower, so that I could change you into something new and help you to become superhuman. You have to pray more, fast more, read my word more, believe more in me, and explore your new identity. There is enough power to do everything I have called you to do with intensity and be victorious. Now go back to that obstacle, put up your dukes, and fight. Be filled with my light and go pursue your destiny. Standing tall, I went back to the obstacle, and it slightly expressed unease. It covered its surprised expression and became more determined to hinder my dreams. With intentions to injure, it stepped forward and ordered, you cannot. I declared, yes, I can. I will remove you from that spot. A series of punches and slams later, the obstacle whimpered back to where it came from, and my back became straighter. Grabbing the door to my future, I realized that whatever obstacle comes my way, that I can overcome it because God told me that I can today.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Tell me what inspired that, Mozart.
What inspired that one? A lot of the times go through periods of times or periods of moments where I feel like I'm not confident enough and I kind of doubt myself. I'm still learning how to fully trust my abilities because I know what I can do. I just sometimes, get like, maybe I can't, when the moment actually presents itself for me to use, my talents or my crafts. And so, I heard my grandfather preach about how, the Holy Spirit gives us the power to do everything that we need to do. And from there, I, wrote that poem. My grandfather actually is a lot inspiration behind a lot of the poems in my book, because he's a pastor and a bishop, and a lot of his sermons, they just speak to my spirit. So, I write about it and try to translate it into poetry, and that's what I did with that poem.
I love it. I love the creativity in it. It's awesome to just be somewhere and hear something or see something and get inspired to write. I love it. Lady Glori, you got anything you want to say about that? What do you think?
I thought it was beautiful, and I thought it reached into faith.
Mm-hmm.
It reached into faith, and I think that if not anything in this world, everybody has to believe in something above themselves. And the thing about that is when we create a relationship, whatever the relationship is, in whether it be religious or not, um, there's doubt and there's struggle in that relationship.
Right.
And I think that your piece professes to that doubt and that struggle. And it also speaks to the balance, right? And coming to the center of those things. So I thought it was wonderful. Mozart,
Thank
great
you.
job.
Thank you. Thank
Yes.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it. I love it. Wow. All right. Lady Glori, whenever you're ready, you could go ahead and do the same.
Okay. So, um, all right. So I have a piece that I've never read to anyone. And
Okay.
after this one, um, oh God, I thought this was the one. Wait, hold on. Okay, I'm gonna do one off the dome, and I'll come back to the one that I'd never read.
Okay.
You guys
Okay.
see me, even though I've left. Okay. Um, she never gave me the ABCs on how to be a quote unquote lady because see, my mommy taught me differently. See, decency and respect had no sex or sexuality. It was merely a courtesy. So whether I sat with my legs crossed or relaxed, she didn't react. Just don't slouch, baby. It's bad for your back, she'd say. Every day was a learning experience. Wrong is wrong no matter who does it. And if it breathes, child, feel free to love it. Grooming began from the soul. And by the time I was just a few years old, see, I knew what a friend was. And more importantly, I knew how to treat one. Hated dresses, so I stayed in a beater. Jeans, sweatshirts for the hats, and a pair of Nike sneakers. I wasn't dainty like the others, but I wasn't petty like them either. She said, why are you concerned with the trends in the back of the line when you were born to be the leader? Keep fighting the good fight. Use your uniqueness to unite. I've not sent you to school in a trendy ass t-shirt. I've sent you in the armor of Christ. So when they ask you your name, baby girl, let them know Glori, Lady Glori. But you're speaking of your position in this world and never nobody's punk ass role.
Oh my God, I love it.
It was good.
Yes, I love it. I love it. I love it. Oh my goodness, SJ Speaks. Hey sis. Oh man. Yeah, shout out to Shami. She said, hey y'all. Man,
Hey,
y'all amazing, man. Y'all
hey.
amazing. Y'all are amazing. I love this right now. All right.
Yeah.
What inspired that, Lady Glori? What I mean, what brought that on?
So when I was a little bit younger, I didn't have any money for I just started poeting and I didn't have any money for a Mother's Day present for my mother. And so I started thinking about my walk and my journey as a poet and how it began. It began because I didn't fit. I didn't fit. And the reason that I didn't fit became it was a blessing. You know, I shouldn't. I'm different. And I've always been different. And so my mother, the way that she raised me um was not to fit. She raised me in a way where I had choice and I had freedom. And one of those things was being a woman was not steps followed, but steps impressed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so there were so many different things about my gender, the way that I identified, um, just existing. And so I owed that to her. And so for her Mother's Day, I wanted her to know how she raised me as I internalized it. And so that's where that came from. Yeah.
Yeah, that is beautiful. It really is beautiful.
Thank you.
Mozart, you got anything you want to say about that, sis?
I just, loved how, through this poem, I got to learn a little bit more about you.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah.
Diction, everything, all the literary terms. You were that.
Thank you, baby.
You're welcome.
Yes, it was absolutely beautiful. It definitely was. We're gonna keep it going, man. Mozart, whenever you're ready, you can do something else.
Okay. So the first poem was like a daydream side. So I'm gonna give you another snippet and give you a nightmare side.
Okay.
Hmm. I love that too, Mo. I really do.
The
I
dreams and nightmares.
Yeah,
yeah,
daydreams and nightmares. Yeah.
yeah.
Daydreams and nightmares. Yeah, I do too. Yeah.
Okay. Let me see. Where the page is at? All right, I'm gonna do one called Twisted Strings.
Okay.
All right. You said, let's just vibe, no strings attached. And I agreed, as strings would only complicate things, but seeing the way your brown eyes lit up when talking to me added a string. You sending me funny pictures to cheer me up when I felt down added a string. The one too many nights we stayed up laughing, enjoying each other's company added a string. We consummated our union without a marriage, which added
Mm.
more strings than I could count.
Mm.
A couple years down the line, you asked me, still no strings attached, right? And I nervously laughed. Yeah, no strings attached. While my whole body had been wrapped with strings too dense to cut, and instead squeezed my flesh and sliced me open as I attempt to break free. Pain oozes out of me with high viscosity, slow and tender. Will this connection be the end of me? Because you don't want me. You want to remain with no strings attached. Yet
Mm.
I am fully attached to you and you don't care. Or maybe you do. And you're taking full advantage of my strings that have twisted together and have been tied to your fingers so that you can control me the way you wanted to. I wasn't like putty in your hands, but more like a ventriloquist dummy to your stage acts, with no applause at the end for your performance. I always found it hard to say no to you. I always found myself dropping everything to come rescue you. If you told me to jump, I'd ask, how high? If you told me to walk a mile in your shoes, I'd already be tying my shoelaces. If you asked me to die for you, I'd ask when would be most convenient. Your love was sick, twisted even, just like these strings that I can't break free from. I wish I could take scissors and cut them, but you won't orchestrate my hands to reach high enough. I've tried leaving you and moving on to someone else, but whenever I get too far out of your grasp, you tug me back to you, pulling me closer, even though you know you don't want me. You just don't want anyone else to have me or lose your precious hold on me. All these twisted strings connecting me to you forms a prison I can't escape, a prison I can't even begin to unravel. It has bunched together in a way that makes it difficult to determine where one part ends and another begins. I need help breaking free from these twisted strings. Can anyone help me? I'm falling into bad habits, which are twisting these strings tighter around me, because all they do is make me think of you. I've tried to drink my pain away. It didn't help. It only brought more of my pain to the surface. I tried to eat my pain away, and all I did was get fatter with grief, because these strings won't let go of me. I tried to laugh away the pain, thinking that maybe if I smiled hard enough, it would become genuine. But instead, my smiles turned into grimaces as these strings twisted around me more, squeezing me tighter, making me fall deeper into this entanglement with you. I've tried everything I could think of to sever this bond, but something won't allow it to break. Sometimes I think maybe I'd be better off if I were dead. Sometimes I question if death is the only way these bonds would break, and if it's worth it, just to be free from you. Because
Mm.
I can't have you in the way that I want you, and life just doesn't seem to be worth living anymore. But it would be useless to try, since our souls, tying together, created a bond stronger than life, stronger than death itself. I don't think I'll ever break free from you. Even when my twisted strings are attached to you, you are not bonded to me. You never were, even though you pretended to be. Because you said no strings attached, and you meant it. I thought I did too. And yeah.
Wow.
Oh, no strings attached. I love it.
Wow.
Twisted
Mozart.
strings, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Strings, yeah. It's a little dark, a little bit, but Yeah.
I love it. I love it. No strings attached. The way, first of all, I like the title and the way that you put it all together like that. Like that was beautiful. It really was. I like to know, like, so definitely what inspired that?
um, I like one thing I like to do with my poems. I like to be different a lot. So when I heard the saying like "no strings attached," I always love to do like plays on words or phrases, or like give you something that you wouldn't expect. If I said twisted strings and had the saying "no strings attached," you would think, I don't know what you would think, but you would think that there wouldn't, be any strings attached. But like, I wanted to, I guess, do a play on words and make you see how those strings that don't seem attached are really attached in like the worst kinds of ways. Um, and like in my book, like, I don't know if you could see it, there's like imagery. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and that's,
Love it. Damn.
um, how it, I guess, represented me and how I feel with these, twisted strings around me. And I drew all the imagery in the book as well. So yeah.
Oh, you drew all the illustration as well too?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's
Oh,
daydreams and
wow.
yeah. That's daydreams and nightmares, everybody. Y'all need to go ahead and pre-order that book, and the release is December 12th. You need to follow her so you can make sure you get your hands on that, because I'm definitely gonna get my copy. What do you think about that, Lady Glori? What did that make you feel like?
I loved it. So it reminded me of my little love thing I got going on right now. The
Uh-oh.
no attached, and also it reminded me, so it was a couple of things that it did for me. What it reminded me of was an old thing that my friend used to say. Shout out to Stacy Smoot. She used to say that that when you bring up something, the presence of it is still there. So an anti-war rally and a peace rally, if you think about it, an anti-war rally has the presence of rage, right? There's a no war, there's a whole thing. A peace rally has the presence of peace. So whatever it is that you bring up is what will be present. So when
Right.
you say no strings attached, they're the
Yeah.
strings, right?
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
then it also, the reason it makes me think of my love thing is the presence of and intentions, right? So when people are operating unintentionally, they generally bring up what there won't be,
Mm,
right? But when people operate intentionally, they bring up the presence of, right? What is going to be present? What am I doing? What are my intentions with you?
mm,
And so, what I've learned is when people are dealing with you unintentionally, they usually accidentally do shit too.
yeah.
So everything is accidental. So people are guilty of dealing with other people unintentionally, which means that you don't have real intention. So it's this innocent thing that people act like, they're doing when they do things unintentionally, but actually you are doing something
Mm,
without intention, which is what you are guilty of, being unintentional. So I think that's a perfect example of that. And I think you did a wonderful job
thank you. Thank
of displaying the presence of these strings. Like,
you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like there's twisted strings that make you feel like a puppet. I'm
yeah,
Right.
his
exactly,
puppet.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, I loved it. I loved it. I
Yeah,
thought,
me too. That was definitely dope. Lady Glori, whenever you're ready, sis, go right ahead.
okay, so this piece I never shared with anybody, right?
Mhm.
Well, I shared with one person because I wrote it for it. So, uh, I created characters, right? So the characters are no one, someone, nowhere is a place. So all of these, when I reference no one, it's an actual person. When I reference nowhere, is an actual place,
Okay.
right? And so this is really just kind of like a spin-off on, well, not a spin, well, I'll explain afterward. Uh, okay. So let's see if it even reads well. No one is a living, breathing human being, as in he is an actual character, as in that some bitch actually exists. And nowhere is his place of inhabitants, as in a place from whence he never ever returned. I heard stories, heard it wasn't far, heard everyone is in walking distance, heard if I close my eyes to the truth long enough, heard if I am ever tired enough to give up, been enough for long enough, I could in fact inherit nowhere. Heard that nowhere is infused in nothing in the middle of everything. Heard it was a trap stationed in every transitional space in our lives. Heard it has happened at the end of June on a Wednesday at midnight in the heart of every city. Heard it's impossible to get direction out. Heard everyone you ask is so well adjusted to being nowhere they forget they are in fact someone. Heard that the
Mm,
architect believed himself to be incapable of anything but recruiting, an innovator of nothing, a sower of dirt, saw Lucy doing the impossible, felt his insignificance so deeply he instantly became resistant to the view of someone who believed themselves to be somebody because nothing gives birth to nothing. He fled and inhabited somewhere else, and in a moment of reflection obliterated everything that was anything and became nothing, reflecting himself perfectly. His name
mm,
is nowhere. He comes from nowhere and named himself no one. So, with not even a self to take pity upon, he abandoned nowhere to find the children of somebody. Decided to go anywhere and everywhere to convince somebody they were no one. Had to find a human being to make nowhere somewhere he could be somebody without replicating his circumstances of being no one. Somewhere he was reminded of his impotence. Turned out, if you drop somebody off in the middle of nowhere, they indeed forget that they were someone, somebody, someplace. So no one became somebody amongst people who couldn't coexist with anywhere, with anyone anywhere. Nowhere. I taking them nowhere. So when I tell you that any place is better than here, I just wish to impress upon you I just wish to impress upon you that you have never been no one, nowhere, with no one to blame, but in fact, somebody's creator, everywhere, for everybody, always belonging somewhere, seduced by someone who convinced themselves they were nothing, going nowhere. And guess what? He did. Take somebody nowhere, that is. Just stood close enough in his perverse affection with the diabolical intention of attempting to empty somebody of who they are and occupying the space that made somebody somebody. So no one, he still exists nowhere because we have always been somebody. Distractions are the number one cause of accidents. And remember, everybody, no one, everywhere, everybody is somebody.
mm. I love it. I love it. I love it. What inspired that? Shit.
So,
Mm.
first of all, it was confusing to write. I was talking to a friend of mine, and she was purging.
Okay.
Right while I was reading it because I remembered how I wrote it. She was purging about uh different experiences that she had that she was made a victim, and it felt like the people behind her traumas were nobody trying to make her nobody,
Mm,
right? They felt like nothing inside and they were trying to collect her
mm,
something to make them nothing,
mm,
right? And
mm,
so at the ending was for her to remember that no matter what and no matter how well this nobody, this person that believes they are no one, how well they have collected, that they've not really collected because everybody is somebody. It's all a lie, right? So I guess that's what inspired it. I wrote that a year or two ago. I never came back to it because I didn't think it would perform well because it's confusing. But actually, as I'm reading it, it's I think it's understandable. So yeah.
It definitely is, and
Yeah.
it's understandable, and to me, it makes you follow it. Like the
Mhm.
way that you started off, and it makes you intrigued and follow what you're saying to see where the story's going. That's awesome, Lady Go. That shit is. I love it. I love
Thank
it.
you. Thank you.
That
I've
was
never
dope.
read it out loud, so thank you for being the first to hear it. I'm so
Yep,
grateful.
I'm glad. So that was an exclusive, y'all. That was
Yes.
exclusive
That was
on
an
the show tonight. All right, that was an exclusive. I love it. I love it. I'm gonna give a shout out to, I think it's Vaughn. Vaughn Banks is watching. Shout out to you, Vaughn. Hit me up on Instagram or Facebook. I definitely need to get you on the show, brother. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you. Shout out to our sister Shamise Jacobs. Love you,
Yay!
sis.
Woo.
Love you to death. All right, Mozart. Whenever you're ready, sis, you can go ahead with whatever you want.
Okay. I'm gonna do. All right. This one is called The Games We Play. We are two imperfect puzzle pieces that fit together in a perfect fashion, like apples to apples. Yet I'm sometimes puzzled as to why our connection didn't always connect for us. Our dynamics seemed to always go down a chute and up a ladder, as I overplayed my part to try and be your uno and only. But it was useless, as I always came number dos to your other options. This always caused trouble because you could never get a clue. I'm sorry if I'm the only one that could see why we belong together in life. Maybe our love was taboo and too much of a risk. Maybe we were never meant to be in the first place.
Mm.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. You got your pen is, both of y'all. Y'all pens are deep. Like it's deep. It is. It's deep. It takes you to so another place. But what inspired that, Mozart?
Um, what did inspire this? I think at this point or at this poem, I guess I was like falling out with somebody that I was talking to, and I was like, man, they playing games. And I was like, okay, well, let me write a poem about it since I'm new to poetry. Let me use poetry to kind of deal with these feelings. And so I was like, okay, let me write a poem about it. What am I write about? And I was like, okay, the games we play. I like to do play on words. So let me include the titles of different, board games and, card games and put that
Oh
into a
yeah.
poem.
Yeah, you
And
did
boom,
that.
that's how that came to be.
I love it. I love it. Definitely very creative. That's the one thing that's another thing I love about this, the creativity part of it. And you know what's funny? The pen is so powerful. Like I'll make up a poem about just about anything. Somebody pissed me off, I can write a poem about it. They don't even know I'm just going in on them. I may not recite it or give it out to anybody, but it does something to give me a release,
Yeah.
to get that shit out. So I definitely feel you. Man, I love it. Lady Glory, whenever you're ready, sis, you could do another one.
Okay. All right.
Mm.
So I wrote this piece. It was called My Hot Pink Shovel. I'm trying to look in my book. I'm sorry. I'm not just looking down. I'm sorry. I tried to get it out while Mozart was talking just now.
So it's called Hot Pink Shovel.
Yeah, it's called My Hot Pink Shovel. All right. So here it is. All right. Let's see if I can do it this way. No, that's not going to work. All right. In an adult-sized sandbox with equally oversized playmates, I saluted my well-structured sandcastle. Fused with the moisture of my own sweat and tears, it was nearly complete. All it required was a flag. And what better effigy than the tool that created this work of art, my hot pink shovel. And I find you, the creatively stunted one, posing on the yard of my castle. And in the palm of your hands, I Give me my hot pink shovel. Petty, you say? No, bitch. You stole my hot pink shovel, and not during freeze tag or hide and go freak. No, you stole my shit right in the midst of me. Waited for the perfect opportunity, the moment my inner child liberated me, allowing my imagination to place me in a castle full of festivities in honor of my creativity. During my celebration of me, you steal my shit from me? This isn't just a tool for organizing dirt. I'm building self-worth, digging me courageously. How dare you take my shit from me? But here I am with a new hot pink shovel, rebuilding while you contemplate a new hustle. And you think I didn't take note of your coveting eyes as you recklessly pile dirt without vision. Greasing your palms, preparing to rob me of my creation. I silently continue to build only to avoid confrontation. I'm building this castle with the expectation that you may try to rob me of it. But please understand, this won't be an easy take. Don't make the mistake of underestimating my fight. Sure, I may cut off my left arm for the sake of right, but I'll be a one-arm boxing bitch before you get my shovel twice.
Mm.
That was cute. Oh, I love
I
that.
love it. I love it, sis. What inspired that?
So
Shovel.
when I first started writing poetry and performing, I had some issues with people not paying me. I had some issues with people not respecting my art. I had people utilizing lines from my work. It was like a free for fucking all when I first started. And it was because I wasn't protecting myself, and I was extremely docile. You know, I wasn't out here to hurt nobody. I wasn't even out here to argue. I avoided conflict by all means. And people was just like treating me like shit. And I'm like, oh, well, my mama didn't raise nobody to just get took from all day. And so I had written that. And after that, I started doing a better job of guarding my work and copyrights and things like that.
I love it. I love it, guys. Ladies, this was absolutely wonderful. Listen, before we go, tell everybody how they can follow y'all. You want to get Mozart's book, December 12th. Don't forget that. Lady Glori, did you have material out as well?
Yes, I do. This is a book I wrote some years ago. I've not had the patience to write another.
And what's the name of your book?
Oh, it's called Misread: The Plight of a Poet. If you guys can see it.
Yes.
That's my middle finger up as a baby. So so you can find it on the book patch, thebookpatch.com, and just put in the title of the book, Misread: The Plight of a Poet. You can find me also on Instagram. I am at Glori Ladi, GLORI LADI. All eyes where the wise were. And you can find me on Facebook at Lady Glori, LADI GLORI. Yes. And yeah, and my email address is bookladyglory@gmail.com. And I think that's about it in terms of finding me.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Absolutely. Mozart, how can we find you?
You can find me in a couple places. My poetry page is mozart.writing, MOZART.writing. My portrait page is mozart.portraits, MOZART.portraits. And then my website, where you could pre-order my book, but also book any other services through me, because I do a lot of art-related things on there as well. It's mozartcreations.com, MOZART creations with a Z at the end.com. And yes.
Awesome, ladies. Also, make sure you get my sister's book, Shamice Lady Jacobs. She has two books that she released, actually, Glass in the Ashes and Tell It to the Sun. Glass in the Ashes and Tell It to the Sun. I know both of them are dope. It is a pleasure to be around such creative writers. I love you, ladies. Y'all are really really good at what you do. Please never stop. I want to ask both of you before I go. So I'm gonna start with Lady Glori. Um, what would you say to that young lady who wants to write, who likes to write, but is afraid to express herself in the environment that she's in? She just doesn't see any way out. It's like, sort of depressing for her. What would you say to her?
I would say for her to write in advocacy of her inner child.
Mm,
That's what I would say.
mm,
That's what I would say. I would say that because most of the time it's our inner children that need the advocacy, and I think that that's all writers are doing. They're advocating for themselves and for other people, you know, and
Mhm.
for those of us that are writing for other people, or advocating for other people, likely their inner child somewhere was powerless to advocate for somebody else. So
mm.
I think that for the young girl who wants to write for your inner child.
Absolutely. Mozart, what would you say to us, sis?
Um, uh, can you repeat the question? Just so
What would you say to that young lady who loves to write, wants to write, but she's afraid to express herself,
okay.
and an environment that she's in is not the greatest. She doesn't really see a way out.
I would say to what helped me, because I was once that girl. I would say to keep keep going, keep writing. Eventually, even if it's not the space that you're in right now, find another space that um, has that inviting environment for you, or make your own. Make your own. But just keep writing. Don't stop writing, because some people may not like it. Everybody won't like your art, and that's okay, because it's not for everybody.
Mhm.
It's for the people that it's meant for. Those people that enjoy your art will enjoy your art, and those people that don't, I mean, that's fine. There's other people for them. Everybody has somebody for them. So, keep going till you find your people, because they'll support you no matter what.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it.
Can I,
Everybody watching. You wanted to say something, Lady Glory?
I wanted to add one thing. What
Mm-hmm.
Mozart said, it is so true. And to operate, I would add also to operate, knowing and understanding that you have the right to hold space in the world of writing, in the world of poetry, and in this world of existence. That is very important, to push yourself to know that there is a space for you, and that space is held for you, and that you are needed,
Mhm.
Mm,
right? And that's the thing. When I first started writing, and I didn't share until I was about 23, and a friend of mine asked me, how dare I keep somebody else's healing from them, right? And so I didn't really think about it that way. For some reason, it was okay to keep my healing from me, but
Mhm.
but to keep it from somebody else was a whole nother thing. So I wanted to add that, and thank you, Mozart, for saying that. It was beautiful.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
yes, absolutely. Thank both of you ladies for coming on. Next week, everybody. All right. When Spitfire Poetry Shutdown will be live on location at Winter Wednesdays. All right.
Woo!
At City Escapes Bar and Lounge, 2213 Kirk Avenue. Free admission to get in. No outside drinks. There's a happy hour from 6 to 7, a live podcast of Spitfire Poetry from 7 to 8. And then we're going to run out the night with some karaoke and whatever else we feel we want to do, I'm sure. Hopefully all of the poets that I know can show up. I would love to get just as many of you live on the mic as I can. I love you all. Y'all creativity inspires me. It pushes me. And I love to surround myself with you guys. I really do. I want to congratulate both of you on what you're doing. Everybody, make sure you follow them everywhere but home, because they are my little sisters, and I will slap the shit out you. All right.
Oh, one more thing.
Great. Huh?
I will be on tour this coming summer. It's
Oh,
called,
Awesome.
congrats.
yes, I am. I'm preparing for everything now. It's part of my stillness and silence. But I wanted to say that out loud because it's important. So if anybody is following me, just know that I will be doing my damnedest to get to cities near everybody.
I love it. I love it. Ladies, I love and appreciate you all for coming on. Y'all be safe. Thank y'all for being here. Keep doing what you're doing because you're helping so many people you don't even know. You know what I mean? Yeah, and just keep doing it. I love it. Stay tuned for my man Chad show coming up next. Like I said, you don't want to miss me next week, y'all. I'm going to be live. This is the first time I'm live on location. City Escapes Barn Lounge, 2213 Kirk Avenue. Poets, I want you to come in the house and do your thing. It's live. I want you to do your thing. Do your thing. Free admission. And come have a good time. You know, I always have the spaces that I go to and that I'm a part of is a safe space for you to have a good time and do what you need to do to relax yourself. All right. Ladies, I appreciate y'all. Be safe out here.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on. I'll definitely be in touch with both of y'all constantly. Y'all be safe. If you want to be blessed, you must bless somebody else. All right. That's the only way it's going to work. All right. Love you, ladies. I'll see y'all next time.
Bye.
Right.
Just wanted to let you know that the host of this show appreciates the time that you've spent with them. Now, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to our channel so you can keep up with everything that we're doing. And most of all, thank you for tuning in to What Up Baltimore online radio, where the people have the power.